So welcome back to what the papers are saying. Let me take you through the stories for the week. I'll start with that to do with the Democracy Hub protest and matters arising. Let's see how that story took off and has been going from the day it started. We start with the Chronicle. They say Democracy Hub demo, tactical police avert turmoil in Accra. Suleiman Abrahima, Franklin Kujo, Lord Police Officers Professionalism. Let's take you to Daily Graphic. They say 39 Democracy Hub protesters remanded for 2 weeks. ChannelOneNews.com, Democracy Hub demo, Oliver Baka Vomawa pleads not guilty to charges. Still with him, 12 others, including him, remanded into police custody for 2 weeks. This is CityNewsroom.com. And finally, on that story, back to ChannelOneNews.com, remanding Democracy Hub protesters for 2 weeks high-handed. This is ex-President Mahama speaking over there. So those are the stories, some stories around the Democracy Hub protest and matters arising. Let's move away from that and some story to do with labor unrest and concerns of mortuary workers. Let's see the angles to that. ChannelOneNews.com, mortuary workers begin indefinite strike over poor working conditions. CityNewsroom.com, mortuary workers temporarily suspend strike. So those are some angles around the mortuary workers. Let's take you to another story having to do with illegal mining and matters arising. Still, that story is up for discussion. Daily Guide says, I don't engage in Galamsey. Haji Amina speaking there. The Chronicle, small-scale mining won't be proscribed. Duka speaking there. Let's take you to ChannelOneNews.com. Western Region tops list of Galamsey hotspots. Freelance journalist reviews. And finally on Galamsey, CityNewsroom.com, Galamsey, Ghana may soon import water for local medicine production, Pharmaceutical Society warns. So that's some stories around illegal mining. Our final story has to do with the resignation of the ECG boss and energy sector matters. The business analyst says ECG boss resigns. Daily Graphic says VRA senior staff petition speaker over proposed measure. CityNewsroom.com, ASAP renews call for ECG board dissolution following Dubik Mahama's resignation. And finally, on that story, ChannelOneNews.com, David Asamoah nominated as acting ECG MD. So those are some stories as well around that. Let me introduce to you my guests for today. We have Samuel Atamensa here with us at Channel One TV as well as City FM. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you.
And then we also have Selim Adoni also here with us at Channel One TV as well as City FM. Welcome, Selim.
Thank you, Vivian.
Okay, so gentlemen, we'll start with Democracy Hub protests and matters arising, if you permit me. 3-day protest over illegal mining. We saw day one issues to do with what routes they will take, leading to the blocking of some routes, subsequently leading to some actions of protesters and then arrests, and then they have been arraigned, and all of them have been are still in remand, and we are told there are 53 people who have been picked over that. Let me start with you, Selim. You saw the 3 days of protest and the issues that panned out. Your thoughts on what we saw over the 3 days in terms of the protest proper?
Well, thanks, Vivian. It's an expression of, it's a form of expression. Right to assembly, and it's a constitutional right. I think they were trying to practice, or they were trying to, they were trying to express themselves in that constitutional manner. It's not the first time that you have people protesting or demonstrating for a cause. It happens every now and then. At workplaces, we see that kind of expression manifesting in strike, etc. It's a way of putting your points across, stating that you're unhappy about something or you want attention given to something. It may be a form of advocacy. It happens, and the Constitution guarantees that right. But in as much as it's a right bestowed upon you by the Constitution, the Constitution also provides other people rights. So whilst you are marching because you have a constitutional right to do so, we must also bear in mind that others also have other rights, and so you must ensure that your rights do not infringe on other people's rights. The police, I think, were praised from the beginning somewhat for trying to, for doing a good job, etc. But I think that quickly deteriorated into something else. And I must say, even before I go on that tangent, that I like their updates. They try to provide some updates to the public every now and then, labeling them update 1, 2, 3, etc. I think that was good. But what I think they could have been better at is how some of the persons were treated. Okay, some of the people were just picked up because they were standing at some places, and we saw some of the pictures. People were standing at bus stops holding placards, and they were just picked up. A lot of them, a lot of the 53 people were just picked up, including people who say they had nothing to do with the demonstration. You know, a lady from church or a woman from church with her husband were picked up. A pregnant woman who was walking with somebody was picked up, and things like that. I think the police could have done better. Of course, you pick people up. When you go and you are screening them, you listen to people, and you reasonably believe that they were not part of it. You let them go, all right? So keeping the people and even dodging the lawyers and their relatives, etc., I don't think was proper. And in 21st century policing and rule of law practice, I think that was a very low point. You know, no matter how you look at it, you don't deny their people access to their lawyers. You don't deny them some access to their relatives, because people didn't even know where their people were. And you were not talking, you were not telling anybody. And their unwillingness to even disclose the persons they had picked up, I think was not proper. You arrest people, they are a number. People are looking for people. They don't know who has been arrested, who has not been arrested, or somebody is missing, etc. Let us know who you have arrested so that people know what to do. So if I know my brother or sister has been arrested and I know the person is in police custody, I don't have to think that maybe something else happened somewhere. The person was caught up in the action. I know that the person is being arrested. And then if I have to arrange legal representation for the person, I do that, because the person has right to legal counsel. You don't get the people, take them somewhere for about 48 hours and more without access to their lawyers when they need to speak to lawyers, and lawyers will have to represent them, and lawyers will literally have to be begging you to know when you will take them to court. It is improper. It is for this reason that Martin Kpebu went to court. You don't have to keep somebody in custody for more than 48 hours. And I recall in so far Akufu's judgment on this Martin Kpebu 48-hour rule judgment, she said that the state must make the facilities available for courts to sit on weekends and public holidays. If on weekends or public holidays, somebody in custody may cross the 48-hour mark. That's how important the freedom of liberty is to the state. And it is quite an irony that the state that asserts that the importance of such a right is now the same entity abusing that right. I think it's not correct to deny people access to lawyers, to keep them in custody for more than 48 hours, dodging lawyers here and there. Today they say they are here, tomorrow they say they are there. It's not correct.
So some of them. Think, what has happened so far, by now they should have been granted bail?
Well, so bail, I'll come to that. Bail is discretionary. Okay. The fact that some have said that they've been assaulted, I heard my governor say that they hit her breast. That is a serious matter. So if such an allegation, the police should be interested in getting to the bottom of that matter. So far, we've not heard anything. Of course, she might have just said it. Maybe she's not launched a formal complaint. But the police should be interested in that as well. A pregnant woman has been picked up. How come a pregnant woman is being in custody and taken to court? We don't understand quite a number of things.
We had the deputy AG speaking today, and he said the lawyers for that pregnant woman should have informed.
Well, I don't know what the details.
What is the routine?
I don't know what the details of that is, but I'll be surprised if the lawyers went to court knowing that this person is pregnant
and didn't do that.
And didn't mention it. And it should be one of the first things they should mention in court. So I'll be surprised
Because he
if
said
they
he's going
went to
through
court,
the docket and everything, no such thing has been mentioned that the lady...
which docket? He went through the
I mean,
judge's
the
docket?
charges, yes. And
He went
the
through the
lawyers for the lady never
No, but the
mentioned
charges is prepared by the prosecution and served on the accused person and their lawyers. So what he should be looking at is the judge's notes or the court notes. If he applied for the court notes, then he may see whether that came up or not. I'm saying I don't know what was said there, but I'll be surprised. I'll be surprised if the lawyers did not mention that. Okay, because that is a very important, a consideration that the court would look at. So the issue of bail. So the charges, a number of charges brought against the people, right? A number of charges.
So
I
the
mean,
charges are, we are told,
conspiracy to commit crime, namely unlawful assembly,
causing unlawful damage,
etc.
offensive conduct conducive to a breach of peace, assault on a public officer, and defacement of public property. I'll let you go through all that, but let me bring in Samens to also pick his initial remarks from the protest proper, the sights and sounds we saw from there, and his thoughts on the actions of the protesters and then the police. Then we'll continue from there.
Okay, thank you, Vivian. I think we are at that time of our democracy where we are putting every structure to test, if I may say so. And whereas, Salom has stated, people have the right to gather, to protest, to express their anger in all the prescribed forms. I do not think in the year 2024 demonstrations or protests, for that matter, should be frowned upon. So I do not see any problem with the protests. I mean, it's their right to protest, their right to be on the streets. 2 weeks before, or a few days before that, the NDC had demonstrations in all the regions. And I do not think that even a matchstick was broken. And nobody was arrested. And so it's not the fact that you protest that is the problem. It's what comes with the protest. And so there were excesses that that took place during the protest, which would now cause the arrest of some people. And so if there are excesses and there are laws and regulations which are violated, the police has the right to arrest. But the point is that the police also has a duty to determine who has infringed
or
broken the law. Yeah. You understand? I mean, if you do a swoop in this old-fashioned swooping thing, everybody. You are mixing those innocent people, bystanders, and all the. I mean, I think that's where the police will also have to work on their training, because look, dealing with crowd like this is not an easy thing. Only a few months ago, we saw what happened in the United Kingdom. We saw, before that, we saw what happened in France. And we saw on live TV how the French police dealt with the demonstrators. I don't think they even remember that there was caught. The French police, in Salom's voice, they beat them. They beat They were given a good beating. I mean, you can't do that here, okay? In the UK, it happened, okay? The police restrained themselves, managed the crowd for days. Guess what? Immediately after the thing, they started going after the culprits, jailing them. Because at the end of the day, a society must be governed by law, regulations, and order. You understand? Yeah. So it's isolating the elements of the law that will be applied in a fair and balanced manner will be the responsibility of the law enforcement agents, in this case, the police. If there are excesses, they should admit that we failed at this, apologize, or wherever you have to sort out the people involved, you do it. But as for me, breaking the law is breaking the law. And of all the things that will constitute breaking the law, demonstration is not one of them. But if you destroy public property, it is breaking the law. It's as simple as that. Because, as I said, the NDC did the protest. They did not destroy any public property. And they did it in 16 regions. Do you understand? And because of that, we still sit here and remember why the NDC did their protest. Today, if you ask people the takeout of the protest that just happened, they'll just talk about people who have been arrested and people who have been detained. So what you have done is that you have sacrificed the essence of the protest for something which I think is maybe secondary or even tertiary. Howbeit, it makes government unpopular. Maybe, just maybe, that's your ultimate goal. But who loses and who wins? So I think that protesters must mind the objects of the protest and stay on course. As for destroying public property, stopping people, because I was stuck in that traffic and I was very angry. I was stuck in that Kaokudi 37, that whole stretch. I was there for 1.5 hours.
Which of the days?
One of the days, I had even forgotten, got myself. Yeah. Like, but why are you preventing people from going on with their lives? So this old-fashioned thing of preventing people from moving and threatening people who are driving, we should discourage that. By all means, show your anger, show your disgust, show your disagreement, show your disapproval. But when you start using your freedom to prevent other people from expressing their own way of life, that is where I depart from. And we've seen videos threatening people in their vehicles, throwing insults on people because somebody said they are animals because they don't believe in their cause and all. We don't need those things. We do not need those things. So, police, you also have a responsibility of making sure that those you have arrested are the people who are guilty of the offense. Otherwise, it will be a wild goose chase.
Well, what's your reaction to getting off from where you ended, those who were innocently
Well,
picked?
that's what I just said.
Yeah. What should the police, what should be the next move? Because that is also...
Well, unfortunately, when you are drawn into it, you have to prove that you are innocent. Or somebody has to prove something, or sell somebody has to prove something.
They have to prove your guilt.
Okay, so they have to prove. So that's so what I'm saying is that they should make their work easier for them. Yeah. They didn't just arrest armed robbers. Okay, was anybody with some ammunition? They didn't just arrest armed robbers. Dealing with this kind of crowd action is first of all to make a point that we are the law enforcement agency. We disapprove of this approach to demonstration. That's fair. Secondly, to discourage other people from destroying public property. Now, when you hear that there's a pregnant woman involved, and granted, the lawyers have not come out to say it, but somebody up there should be able to intervene and say that, well, if there's a pregnant woman, let's just bail her out. She's not a criminal. She may even be offended the law in the course of the protest. But does that make her a criminal? So as for that one, somebody should have intervened. Look, indeed, if this person is because what if in the unlikely event that she loses her baby, would that have made the police their point better or what? Nothing will happen. Yes, so as for that, but I'm just saying that destroying public property is a no. It shouldn't happen.
All right. Salam.
Yeah, of course. So, if there are excesses, let's deal with the excesses. And nobody, I'm not sure, we are all agreed that, the excesses must be dealt with. Those who went there to do their own thing, as in misbehave or cause damage to public property, those must be found out and dealt with. But my issue with the police, even though on the first day we understand they did a good job, and I've applauded their frequent updates to the public, etc. You know, my only issue with was how they handled some of the people, and number two, the state's insistence on opposing bail applications made by counsel for the protesters. I mean, in Ghana today, thanks again to Martin Kpebu, no offense in Ghana is not bailable. Every offense is bailable, including murders or alleged murder cases, etc. Once you're able to make a case, the court will look at it. Of course, it is discretionary. The judge will have to look at it and grant it or refuse it. But it wasn't like it was before. It was before that certain offenses are not bailable. So right from the start, you can't get bail. They could have been giving police inquiry bail. They could have been given bail pending, the determination of the matter as in court. So if all the 50 or 40-something people arrested and put before court have been denied bail, what is the point? What are you communicating to the public? What did they do? They just protested. They said they might have destroyed public property, or allegedly. But what is the degree of that vis-a-vis their constitutional right to demonstrate or to protest? And what were they protesting against? Of course, they said they were protesting against the degradation of the environment and water bodies by Galamsey activities. Whether that was the real intent or not, of course, that was what we saw on placards, etc. Again, the excesses must be dealt with if there were excesses. But to deny them bail in this manner and remand them for 2 weeks for just demonstrating, I thought it's a low point. And so I'm surprised the state opposed bail application for these people. Murderers or alleged murderers are granted bail. And there are various elements in the issue of bail. If the person is a flight risk, the court may not want to grant it. The nature of the offense, etc. The court will take into consideration all of those things. But what is the nature of the offense? They said conspiracy to commit crime. What's the name? Unlawful arrest, unlawful assembly, causing and all of that. How a lot of these are misdemeanors. A lot of these are misdemeanors. So why do you keep somebody in custody for 2 weeks for things like this? That is what creates a disconnect between the system and the people who think that the system is just looking for the low-hanging fruits to punish them. The law says that the court shall not withhold or withdraw bail merely as punishment. You do not use the refusal of bail as punishment. For a lot of them, these charges will not amount to anything, or they'll even drop the charges along the line. But
why do you think the judge in his
the judge will listen to arguments. The judge will listen to arguments from both sides. So if the Attorney General tells, or the state prosecutor prosecuting the matter says he are still investigating and says ABC, the judge will look at the two sides and decide. But I've been in matters where the prosecutor will say, no, we are not opposed to bail application, or we are not opposed to the court granting them bail. Yeah. So the judge still has discretion. The prosecutor can say, we will not oppose it, but the judge can still go ahead and refuse the bail. The judge has discretion. But the judge is influenced largely by what the parties say, even though the judge knows the law and the law is in the bosom of the judge. The point I'm making is that given the nature of this particular protest and the consequences we may see, which we are seeing and discussing now, the state could just say that for A, B, and C persons, we are not opposed to bail. Maybe one or two we are opposed to bail for A, B, and C reasons. Maybe we are investigating. But in this matter, what is the justification for the bail, for refusing them the bail? I don't get it. I do not get it. I think the state could have done better. Now they have to come back in 2 weeks. For what? And you see, sometimes you may think you are using this to oppress or to repress or to suppress the people from speaking out or from demonstrating.
You think that's what
but no, I don't know. And this is the court. It may not work because we've seen notices around by other people wanting to demonstrate for a similar cause.
There's one from 3rd to the 5th.
So it may not work. You have a lot of these.
Is it just about demonstrating?
That's how they choose to express themselves. I mean,
I'm just saying that.
In terms of
you mean destroying public property is how you want to?
No. That's what I'm saying. I mean, so these are the excesses we must deal with.
No, but the point is that you see, I'm saying that only a week or so ago, the NDC demonstrated. and no court arrested anybody. So I think when we capture this whole conversation within the act of demonstration alone, then we are not being fair to the.
Yes, so I said the excesses must be dealt with. If they destroy things, that's a crime. That's an offense which must be dealt with. So I have no problem with the prosecution. I have really no problem with the prosecution.
Saying that, yes. So assuming that they have offended the law, the manner in which you prevent them from even getting bailed is a bit curious. And that's the point I'm making. I'm not saying that they've been arrested just because they demonstrated, because that clearly is not the case. You know, and in trying to arrest those who are guilty or who may be guilty of the offense, they have ended up adding people who may be innocent. And in fact, people who just went there happily to go and observe and dance to the music have also been carried away. You understand? So I'm just saying that, yes, it's even if they offended the law, 2 weeks. I mean, it's remand. You know, unless the court system knows something that we all don't know. This is my point. 2 weeks, some way. Even if you want to jail them, the remand of 2 weeks is a bit long. That's all. That's my point. But I won't say that they have been arrested because they demonstrated. I don't think that should be a fair. That's not fair on the judiciary.
Of course. So the excesses must be dealt with. But my bigger point is the refusal of the bail and the fact that the state actively opposed the bail application by counsel for the protesters. I thought this could have been done in a neater way. So let them be given bail. They will stand trial. If we are really interested in prosecuting them, they will stand trial. Grant them bail. Let them come to court, or grant some of them bail at least. Let the rest go through the process. But the way it's been, like Simon said, they've ended up, I mean, creating a different narrative, which may not really be good in terms of the optics for everybody. Those who did bad things, yes, by all means, deal with them, you know. But I think the state could have done better.
The pregnant woman, now that it's known that she is pregnant, can anything be done to get her?
No, they have to go back to court. Of course, they can repeat the application, they can appeal, they can do a lot of things. So I'm hoping that the lawyers dealing with the matter will do the needful, go back to court, go and canvass the argument, and let the court see reason in exercise, and so the court exercises discretion in a manner that will be favorable to those persons. We shouldn't even get here. You know, there's this thing sometimes, the police especially, there's a small matter, you go to the police station, they want to waste your whole day. And sometimes it's like show of force or show of power. They can keep you there. If you don't take care, you sleep the overnight. But it's not a matter that should keep you there in the night. But they just want to do so to show power. I think we should move away from that.
Okay. There's some messages coming in. This one says, the pregnant woman wasn't identified by the lawyers because they had not seen her till she came to court. They never saw her in custody because the police denied the lawyers access to the suspects. They only found out she was pregnant after the hearing. Okay. This one says, I'm surprised the right of ordinary citizens exercising their civic rights by protesting against the destruction of their water bodies are infringed upon by the police. What surprised me most is the fact that this is pretended by human rights. Okay, all right. This is what the papers are saying. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap up on this story, and then we'll move to the issue to do with the mortuary workers. Stay with us. We'll be right back. So yeah, welcome back to what the papers are saying. My name is Vivian Kailoka. I'm here with Selo Madonna as well as Samuel Atamensa. We'll move to the story to do with illegal mining. Yesterday, the Pharmaceutical Society... But for some.
No, I think, you said it that you were rounding up. Because I just have only one thing to add.
Okay, I'll give you a minute each to wrap up on that. You'll find out and then we'll move to...
Another thing is, you see, we need to review our own way of doing things as a country. Okay. You understand? The use of force, I think it's outmoded. Using force, hey, and then somebody demonstrates and, destroys public property. And then you handcuff them. Why are you handcuffing them? Or is it is that a practice that by all means you have to handcuff somebody?
No, the people are not resisting. Yeah. Just walk the people to.
I mean, these are normal citizens who care about the country in different ways. They have expressed it in different ways. You have arrested them. And this thing of we have to handcuff them to show that we have arrested them. I think we should tone down a bit in 2024. Let's take some of these old-fashioned way of doing things, the handcuff, and then it means that we have shown them power. No, let the law take its course. I don't think that there's anything in the law that says that if you have a suspect, or there are suspects, you have a suspect.
But now they are accused.
They are accused.
Once you are charged, you become an accused.
Then you handcuff them to validate the charge. No. Please, police people, let's calm down. Let's calm down. This handcuff thing is outdated. Colloquial. The people, they are not running anywhere. Not one of them has proven to us that you ran away. We hear that Voma went to sit on the motorcycle. So you haven't seen that. You still have police. You haven't seen that this Voma, he's just doing pillow.
Happy man. And he fell sick.
The man is doing pillow with you before, and you can't see that. The man is just doing pillow low. He's just happy himself, and every time that he will raise his hand and show that. So, Charlie, but this handcuff for demonstrators, we should stop it. I think that is outmoded. We should stop it. That's all I wanted to add.
Okay, and unless there's something they know that we don't know, even the number of them that took the suspects to court, the attire, the cars. I mean,
I'm sure
is there a reason?
Well, I don't know, but maybe they want to work.
Okay.
So they have to work. But I think these guys, they've not demonstrated that they are armed, and nobody has said so far that they found weapons on them. Nobody has said that so far. They would have said it. Maybe they came in that manner because they thought they would meet resistance from the public or from their supporters outside. Okay. So that's fine. Me, so far as they are treated well, they are treated humanely, I'm okay. Give them access. Grant lawyers access to them. Grant their relatives access to them. We are not saying that 24 hours, grant them access, but there should be times you grant them access. They must eat. And you see, there's a way of...
They bought papaya.
There's a way they punish whose money.
They said they got them papaya.
They said they bought papaya.
The police said they bought papaya.
Yes, they said.
I see, that's interesting.
What they said.
Because we don't know which branch of the papaya.
That's the differences.
No, papaya, there's one at Tessano. There's one at Afafra.
So we want them branches.
No, we don't know which branch of the papaya. There was a papaya.
I think the police must
under arrest, party, they buy papaya for you.
I think that the police
I want to be arrested again.
You want to be arrested again?
No. To be acquired with that one.
I mean, they should be a bit more professional. There's no point in showing force, showing power. Okay. You are there to serve the people. I mean, that's what it is. And you are there to facilitate their protest and things like that. But this thing about last minute police will go to court, sometimes ex-party to go and get some. I mean, it's I think it's outmoded. It's like you are hiding to do something. No, the people served you notice to demonstrate about 3 months ago. Why do you go to court last minute? I mean, it's difficult. The police should be nicer. And of course, like Simon says, we are all concerned about the country in different ways. And there are various ways. Some of us will sit on radio and TV and talk. Others may want to hit the ground and go and demonstrate. Others may write. Others may do other things. There are various forms of doing it. We don't have to intimidate people. These guys, Vomawo and Co, I'm a governor. I'm not sure these things will intimidate them in any way. It rather makes them popular, makes them heroes, etc. Vomawo has a treason case on his head. Yeah, but he's enjoying the process. So when you do so, you are making him enjoy it more. I think the police should find another way of doing this. But for me, opposing bail applications and getting the court to remand them for 2 weeks or so, I think is heavy-handed.
But the demonstrators should also not see the police as enemies. You know, the police you see there, a lot of them actually believe in the cause you are pursuing.
I agree with you.
True.
But mind you, they are just performing a duty. So offending them and attacking them is not, that one too is not necessary. You know, because a lot of the police people, if they were to disguise themselves, I'm sure they will shout louder.
They will hold bigger placards.
You understand? But they are working. So let's see them as partners in this business. And the attack on police and things, we should stop. We should stop those things.
Okay, so we'll wrap up on that. A final message on that. Hi, good evening. I hope you are aware of the joint demonstration about to happen by Vandals, Katanga, Casford, etc. If demonstrating for what is right is the way, then the police should be ready to arrest all of us. Of course, I don't support law breaking, but honestly, the police was too cruel, you say. Okay, we'll still stay with Galamsey, and we'll take off with Ghana may soon import water for local medicine production. Pharmaceutical Society's warning, and then OSP begins investigations into Galamsey-related corruption cases. Samantha, I'll start with you. The OSP investigations, I'm sure you're excited about it, but the Pharmaceutical Society warning, I'm sure you are very sad about that.
Well, the warning came too late. The warning came too late. 2 years ago, the water company started raising the red flags, and you hosted them in this studio when they were all here. Water Resources Commission, Professor Gordon, and all, they were all here telling us 2 years ago about what will happen by now. So it's not rocket science. We knew we were going to get here. Nobody heeded to the caution. We just enjoyed our lives like this, and this is where we are. So what Pharmaceutical Society is saying, what I can tell them, Mr. Samuel Donko Kanizaro, the president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, is that as far as our experience is concerned, they have heard you, but they won't do anything about it. They've heard you, but they will do nothing about it. Because 2 years ago, this call was made right here by Professor Gordon, Dr. Alpha, and all the people who were here. But it just passed, and nobody could care a hoot. And this is where we are. Pharmaceutical companies may end up shutting down because they are not going to import water to produce medicine. They will end up shutting down. That's what is going to happen.
Hello.
Well, people will shout, people will say a lot of things, but in the end, people sometimes do not have the power to act. Again, the power to act rests with people. Okay, with all these things we've been shouting for the past 3 weeks or 1 month or even 2 months, we need to hear something certain from duty bearers. We've not really heard that. All we hear is that, I mean, an ad hoc committee has been set up. Small-scale miners should lead the charge against illegal people. So now,
that's the answer you
know, how I mean, you have the power of state. How will somebody else lead it? What must they do? The laws are there. They should enforce the law. The small-scale miners should enforce the law. I don't even understand that. The small-scale miners should enforce the law. Enforce the law. You know, they said, you know, declare a state of emergency on mining in water bodies and around water bodies. Do that. You know, revoke a certain LI. Do this, do that. We've not heard anything. And for me, it's like we don't even care about what you are saying. You can demonstrate, you can do all you want to do, you can issue statements, etc. But we do not just care. This is how we want it, and this is what we are doing. I don't think it's even respectful to the people, because it's like we don't know anything. The guys in government, they know everything, so they are doing it as they please, and we don't care. We can waste our time, we can demonstrate, we can issue statements, we can talk all we want, but nothing will happen. I don't think that is respectful to us. We need to hear something from the duty bearers. We need to hear something from the president. He needs to tell us that, okay, I've heard you, this is ABC we are doing, but nothing. Just set up a committee. I wonder how many times they even meet. I wonder we need to hear something concrete to show that we care about the problem and we are committed to resolving the problem. I've not seen that so far. And I think that's a deafening silence.
Okay. Some good news if that happens and that something concrete comes out of it. The OSP is saying that they've begun investigations into Galamsey related corruption cases. That should at least put some small smile on your face.
Of course, I mean, it's the beginning of a process. I hope that is deterrent enough. I don't know how long that is going to take. I don't know which people presently are undergoing that investigation. I mean, we need more information on that to be able to be happy. If it's just the same, small boys and girls who are picked up, I mean, it doesn't solve the problem. We need to see which people, what they've done, and how this action will improve the situation we have on the ground. It's a good start, but I think we need to see more.
I didn't get, Papa, your comment on that. You spoke on just the pharmaceutical.
The OSP?
Yes.
Oh, no, I think it's a good call for the OSP. Thing is that based on what we have seen of the OSP in the last 1 year, I don't think that they are going to entertain any exceptions. If they bab you, as we say, if they bab you.
Yeah, I heard that term. I heard that in a long. It's old school.
If they catch you in a thing, no cabote, they finish you that. So I'm just happy to hear that the OSP will do something about this, but it still does not prevent the government from taking a decisive stance on this.
Okay. We have some few minutes to go. I think we can wrap up with the mortuary workers. They have called off their strike temporarily, giving government 2 weeks to deal with poor working conditions. Luckily for families who had to go for their dead, the relatives, corpse of the relatives, from now till Saturday, most people do the burying and all that. They get to get the bodies. But let me start with you, Samantha, on why we're doing this to mortuary workers. I mean, the work is very difficult, and denying them, I'm told in some cases they don't even have PPEs to work.
That's not fair, But you know the Samale people.
Which the Samale people? Which one is the Samale people?
Kumasi, ask Kumasi people what Samale. The people in the mortuary who handle something,
The undertakers.
Those who arrange the bodies in the place there.
Okay. We are called Samale in Kumasi, okay.
Yeah. That they are called money sweet.
They are called money sweet.
Sweet.
No, they say they will go on strike in 2 weeks.
Yeah, if they don't deal with the issue.
I think they should just deal with the issues for them, because if I heard the guy right, he said that it's been 4 years since they started.
Because they've been on strike before, back and forth,
the chaos that can erupt if they embark on the strike is something that we cannot handle. I mean, in Ghana, we've seen teachers go on strike and matters remain unresolved for weeks. We have seen some categories of health workers go on strike, matters unresolved, and strike persists for weeks. I can assure you that if mortuary workers go on strike, matters are not resolved. We cannot have our peace for weeks because that is dangerous.
Yeah.
And so and I think that there's some effort to meet them halfway, for which reason they have agreed to give an extension of 2 weeks. I think a decent way of negotiating. And so the government must, that's Okoboy's people, right?
Yeah.
That's Health Ministry.
Ministry, yeah.
So Dr. Okoboy and your people, you have to look sharp, as you say, look sharp and do the needful.
Right.
Of course, it's a season of strikes and everything. I noticed the universities and this, a lot of unions are on strike. It's the season. It's like you hit hard when the most impact will be felt.
Well, the universities have now postponed their reopening.
Yeah,
so that's
in readiness for the strike.
So I think they did so because of the strike, because they can't. So I think it's the season for it, and it may get worse. Mortuary workers, I mean, unfortunately, we see them as guys, down the pecking order, but the job they do, very, very important. You can only imagine what will happen if they go on strike. Really, somebody dies, you take the person to the mortuary. There's nobody there to receive the person.
The private mortuaries will make a whole expensive.
Be enough to take many bodies.
I think and what are they asking for? They're asking for very basic things, PPEs, allowances and all of that. And they said some of the promises made to them as frontline workers during the COVID, those promises have not been fulfilled. I don't know how many they are, but I think government can do better and meet them halfway so that we don't have this embarrassing situation on our hands. If teachers go on strike, doctors go on strike, yeah, you can understand, or you can come to terms with it. Maybe what they're asking for is huge, etc. But if mortuary workers go on strike, I mean, the optics are not nice, and they just add to a tall list of frustration in the system. I think they need to be listened to. They need to be brought to the table and spoken to. And I'm happy that possibly that is happening, so that we don't see that strike happening in October as they've threatened. Okay,
we hope whoever is supposed to deal with their issues does that. But thank you very much, gentlemen. Some more comments. You want to say something?
No.
Here with us at ChannelOne TV as well as City FM. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, ma'am.
And then Selim Adonu also here with us at ChannelOne TV as well as City FM. Selim, thank you for coming too. My name is Vivian Kai Loco. Thank you for also joining us. We'll see you again next time. Goodbye.